Welcome to the Livfiit Listens podcast, a safe space of growth, personal development, and overall wellness with your host, Olivia Catania. Diving into the realms of all things health, conscious living, mental expansion, and much more, this podcast is designed to help you evolve into your best self and live fit. Let's get into the show. Hi, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Livfiit Listens podcast. Today, we're on episode 76. I'm going to be quite frank with you guys. I had a whole different outline, like a whole different idea and theme for this podcast episode. And then this has been so passionate, the topic that we're actually going to talk about. I feel so passionate about it and it's really freaking on my heart and on my mind. And so I was like, you know what? We're scratching the other episode I had planned and we're doing this because I have the fire lit under my belly right now. I have a lot of things to say with passion. And I was like, this is the episode that's going to serve me and others the most right now. So this is what we're going to be diving into. But first, my gratitude for today and for this episode, as I always feel like I should mention, if you're new to this podcast, if you're a new listener here, I like to always start every podcast with gratitude, and then I like to end it with an affirmation, a corresponding affirmation to help you guys apply and live with the message that I had in each podcast episode. So I feel very thankful that my cousins came to visit because my oldest cousin on my dad's side, her whole family is from Vegas. She came to visit with her husband and her two kids. So I guess technically my second cousins. I'm really close with all of my family. Family is very important to me, including extended family. But I haven't seen her specifically in literally 5 years. It's been in a pathetically long time. So it was really nice to be able to see her and her two kids. It was the first time I met her second kid, her youngest boy, and we just really had so much fun. She's so funny and we just have been having really good quality time, and she was able to see my mom, and it just was a really truly a great weekend, and we had so much fun, and it was fun getting to play with her kids and just catch up and get to know them more and have her be filled in more on my life and my siblings' life and all that sort of stuff. So it was a really good weekend, and I feel really, really thankful that we were able to make that happen, especially with my mom having moved here and just being able to get the family together and my sister being here now. It just was very, very fun and a very needed family time. I feel like I've been having so much family time now since being home, and it's honestly really nice. The older I get, the more I cherish it. So if you're a younger viewer and you feel annoyed with your family, trust me, I've been there and I needed my space and I'm glad I got my space. But now as I'm 24, I find myself coming back home. Literally coming back home to my family. Other thing that I'm just remembering, I do want to remind you guys that my retreat tickets are live for Bali. So I am hosting another retreat from May 2nd to May 6th. And I do just want to make sure that I'm reminding you guys of this, because since Bali is definitely a longer travel distance, getting your airfare on the earlier side is definitely important, definitely plays a role here. So I do want you guys to really be thinking about it. If you do want to join us on the Bali retreat, it's an 8-day retreat. We're going to be doing some waterfall hikes. We're going to be snorkeling, taking a Balinese cooking class, just a bunch of really fun activities. And then I've doubled the amount of workshops that I'm doing in this retreat. So we're going to be focusing on the 3 main pillars of movement, meditation, and journaling. So I am going to be hosting another workout workshop. And this time we have a classified, no, that's not the, we have a designated space for the workout. So that'll be much more enjoyable. Last time we kind of just did it outside, which was still fun, but I found that we definitely needed more of a workout space. And then we are doing, like I said, multiple meditation workshops and multiple journaling workshops. And then every morning I do provide you guys with a journal prompt with a corresponding affirmation for you guys to reflect on and do your own self-discovery. Already 30% of people who came on my Costa Rica retreats rebooked for Bali, which I absolutely love that, because it just shows how much they enjoyed their time together and how much they enjoyed making new friends and stuff. So I love that. So right now there are 9 seats available. If you're looking to join, the trip page will be linked down below in the show notes. Your ticket includes everything from the full itinerary, all the activities, all the workshops I'm hosting, most meals, all of our accommodation, transportation to and from the airport. So really you're only responsible on the outside of your retreat ticket is your flight, and then some meals, and then any fun money you want to spend on alcohol or souvenirs or anything like that. So again, if you're looking for more information, the trip page is linked down below. But if you're really someone who is passionate about working on yourself, self-discovery, which I intend that you are if you like this podcast. If you're someone who's also looking to meet new girlfriends, there's so much community and sisterhood that comes out of traveling with a group of women. It's so freaking empowering and powerful, and it just feels I promise you'll just feel so held in that environment because you finally have other women who are actually rooting for you and are there to help you on your healing journey. And so much healing is done individually through the support system of the collective. And it's just really beautiful. And then also Bali is such a beautiful, enchanting freaking country. And I'm so beyond excited to go there. I've been feeling called to go there forever. So I'm so excited. So anyways, if this trip is calling you in any which way, I definitely recommend checking out. If you have any questions or hesitations, please reach out to me. You can DM me on Instagram. Also, I am looking to make this group chat for all the girls who are looking to go sooner rather than later, so that if you do want to meet up with people and travel together so it doesn't seem as scary to fly, the longer distance, I definitely think that will also be a great idea. So getting into the meat of this episode, I don't mean to start off very pessimistic. I promise my main message with this episode is very much positive, empowering, and encouraging. But I'm not someone who has a lot of pet peeves, right? I wouldn't say that a lot of things bother me, but one of the things that really grinds my gears is just the lack mentality, lack mindset, or just the small thinking or thinking in terms of problems. I truly can't stand it because it does nothing but keep you trapped. And it just is such a non-self-serving mindset that I truly don't think I'm ever actually going to be able to get behind. And don't get me wrong, I go through my phases where I have imposter syndrome, or I struggle with feeling confident in what I'm doing, or I struggle with, being hopeful. But then as soon as I start to feed into that self-deprecative mindset, or that doubtful mindset, or the impending doom mindset, or feeling like nothing's going to work out, as soon as I sink into that, I'm I catch myself. I'm like, hold up. Am I really so what? I'm just going to accept this mindset and lay down and accept defeat and failure. And then what? You know what I mean? It's like, this does absolutely nothing to serve me. And then I wake up and I'm like, no, I literally cannot accept this mindset because it does absolutely nothing constructive in this situation, in my circumstance. The only way out of this is to encourage myself, is to remind myself that I can make a change, is to remind myself that there is hope, is to remind myself that there is a way out and that abundance is possible for everybody. It's just you hear it so often. You hear it anywhere, especially if you're someone who's trying to do your own business, or someone who is trying to achieve a life of freedom, whether that's financially or freedom with your time or freedom where you can work. It's someone always in the mainstream of society will always have a rebuttal to say of why it's not feasible, of why it's not plausible. There's no way in this economy. There's no way. It's just not the way the world works, or those are only the top 1% of people. That's not the way the reality is for the majority of the society. It's cool. I have no interest in taking part of what's average. And I'm also, I want to tread lightly. I'm not trying to demonize any of these things. We need people who want the traditional 9-to-5 job, who like the security, who like the routine, who like the safety, who like the comfort. If you're someone who's genuinely happy in our situation, I literally have nothing, congrats. I have nothing to say to you, or in the sense of I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't be doing that. That's all I ask, is that all you guys are doing something that you're happy and passionate about. I don't care what the frick it looks like. I don't care what you're happy or passionate about. As long as you're feeling that about your life, that's my number one goal with this podcast, is to inspire you guys to not only work on yourselves internally, but also to help that then reflect having you live a life in your external reality of a life that you're happy and passionate about. That's truly all I can ask for all of you, all of you people listening. I wish you nothing but that. But I just am trying to say, if you're someone who wants something that's kind of against the grain, or you're someone who doesn't want to be what the average person is doing, it's as soon as you try to do something different, there's all these different blocks of yeah, you can go for it, but don't expect that there's going to be a lot of people doing it with you, or don't expect that it's going to be something easier. Don't expect that it's going to be, very manageable once you're in the real world. It's there's always, and listen, I just feel there is something to be said about, having a realistic viewpoint, right? But I feel there's a very fine line between having a realistic viewpoint and also simply making excuses as to why something won't work because you're actually deep down subconsciously scared of failing, or you want to try to justify yourself as to why you yourself haven't made the moves that you're talking against about to someone else, if that makes sense. It's I get that there's a degree of being realistic, but in my opinion, right, in my view, and again, I'm young, I haven't been through full life, I don't have to pay for kids, there's a lot of stuff I haven't experienced yet, but in my 24 years of life, I'm doing the best I can in choosing a mindset that I feel can serve me the best in this moment. That's the best that I can do. And in this moment, I don't always feel like the quote unquote realistic mindset is the self-serving mindset. And that's kind of just the tea. I just feel like more often than not, it holds people back / it almost enables them to not chase their dream, or it justifies them for not chasing their dream, or it just makes people continue to play it small because in their head, they're like, oh yeah, that's not realistic. Honestly, I want to say FUCK being realistic. Like I don't think it's self-serving, especially if people are more so wanting to think big. Like if people are reaching for their stars with their goals, if they want to get a really high position in their job, if they want to start their own business, if they want to be able to work from anywhere, if they want passive income, it's like, I don't believe that you can think realistic and not be someone who's thinking big and taking risks if you want to live a non-average life. Like I'm someone who does not want to live an average life. Nothing about my life now is average. And I'm grateful and privileged to say that, but I want to do everything I can in my power to stay on that trajectory, to stop living an average life. Because also, hot take, also, if you want to like say that argument to me of like, well, it's not realistic, this is what is really happening in the world of what's average of what's going on in the US. Sick. I want nothing to do with what's average in the US. Because one, what else is average? People who are unhealthy, who are overweight, who don't take care of themselves, who don't do any meditation, don't do any mindfulness practice, don't eat well, don't exercise. And don't get me wrong, there's privilege to those things. But again, it is accessible in some way, shape, or form to every single human being on their planet. It is free to meditate. Buying a number 2 Ticonderoga pencil and a piece of paper is not that expensive. Doing burpees on the grass outside, that's completely free. Going for a walk, that's free. And again, I'm not someone, how do I put that? I just feel like there's always going to be excuses for everyone as to why someone can't do things. And don't get me wrong, there's people who have schedules that set them up to easier add these self-serving habits into their routine, right? Don't get me wrong. For me, I'm very well aware, I'm very privileged that I've gotten to a point where literally being healthy is my job. So don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that someone needs to be working out 5-6 days a week like I am, doing meditations or doing mindfulness every single day. Trust me, I'm not saying that. Doing cold plunges, making, eating organic food. I'm not saying that's what everyone needs to do, but having healthy habits in your routine and taking care of yourself to some degree is accessible to everybody. And it's like, I just feel like so much of that realistic quote unquote viewpoint is what inhibits people. It's like, oh, that's not realistic, that's not feasible for me to incorporate that in my daily, in my routine when I have all these other things to do, or whatever the case may be. Like Sally next door isn't taking care of her health, she's the average American, so I'm not going to either. It's like, fuck that. Like I have no interest in being close to average with anything, whether it's taking care of my health, whether it's my mindfulness, whether it's my job, whether it's how I live my life, whether it's how I travel. And I hope that this podcast episode can kind of inspire whoever is resonating with me right now. I know this episode isn't going to resonate with everyone, and that is totally okay, right? We all want different things out of life. But if you hear me, if you see me, if you resonate with me, like, let me be the one in your ear that like, you do not need to settle for average. And it's like, it's making me emotional now because it's like in 2020 was when I first started listening to podcasts, and it's like, I just feel like, and I'm not where I want to be, like in the sense of there's so much more I want to do in life, right? It's not like I'm financially free, not even close, where I'm just like chilling, doing nothing. Like, no, I still have so much I want to accomplish and so much more I need to do, but I love what I'm doing and I love the direction that I'm in. And if I didn't listen to people who are so encouraging, God bless my dad. He's so encouraging. He's so supportive. He's the number one person that makes me feel like the sky's the limit, right? I'm sorry. I really didn't think I was going to get emotional. I just feel so passionate about this. Like, thank God I had my dad for someone who told me like, chase your dreams and freaking shoot for the stars and land on the moon, I think is the saying. And it's like, I feel for people who are just trapped in the societal mindset of what's realistic and what's feasible and, oh, that's way too impossible, you're not the top 1%. It's like, all that is bullshit. It's like the system, society wants you to feel fucking small. And if you feel small, you need to get out of whatever you're doing. You need to change your mindset. You need to change your routine. Like every single one of you listening right now should feel empowered, should feel like the sky is your limit. You should feel like you have the freedom to pivot. And no matter how small that pivot is, right? I'm not saying everyone listening is going to be able to go from 0 to 100 and quit their job and be in Bali for the next year, right? Starting tomorrow. But your small pivot might be tomorrow, starting now. I'm going to be reading a self-help book. I'm going to be reading for 10 minutes about how to make more money. Something so small. Like everyone always has a choice to do something to make themselves 1% better, or do something no matter how small to start getting you in the direction of where you want to go in life. And I just want you guys all to remind yourselves of that, because back in 2020, that I kind of lost myself. That's where I was going with this. Like back in 2020, my life could have gone in two different directions, you guys. Like that was when I first started listening to podcasts of personal development. That's when I meditated for my very first time. And that's when I had like 4,000 Instagram followers. YouTube wasn't even a thing. I didn't have TikTok. And nothing, like I wasn't making a dime from social media. I was about to start my senior year of college, and I could have, I'm just saying, if I didn't surround myself with prosperous tools, if I didn't take a hold of my mindset, if I didn't start instilling belief in myself, then I wouldn't be where I was today. I easily could have been like, you know what? That's where my heart is following me. I want to live a life where I have freedom, where I can travel and do all these things, but that doesn't seem feasible for me. I'm just going to go get a normal 9-to-5 job and supply chain management, because that's what I was studying in college. I could have freaking done that. And again, for someone, they might have loved that and that's their dream. Fantastic. For me, it wasn't my dream, and that's my point. In my heart, I wanted to do what I'm doing now. And if I didn't listen to that because I needed to have a realistic mindset, or I needed to think of what was feasible, I would be so unhappy right now, 3 years later from that point in 2020. So it's like my life has changed so much simply purely on your belief systems and purely on the belief like in yourself, and having hope and faith in what's possible for you, and keeping an abundance mindset. Like I am where I am now because of my abundance mindset. Again, no, I'm not where I am, where I want to be completely, but I am so much closer to where I want to be than where I was in 2020. And just thank God that I had, people in my ear, whether it being from podcasts or listening to listening to podcasts or reading self-help books or watching people on freaking YouTube that I loved their life, that I wanted to replicate their life. Like those are the people you need to take advice from, people that you want to live their same life, right? That's another quote. It's like, don't take advice from people you wouldn't want to live their life. Now I'm butchering the quote. Don't take advice from people you don't want to be like. I'm looking this up because it's necessary. That's what it is. Don't take advice from someone you wouldn't trade places with. And it's freaking true. So it's like, anybody listening, like keep your goals in the front of your mind, and know that like the only way to achieve what seems impossible, to achieve dreams that are so big, is through your belief and is through keeping your abundance mindset. And that's another quote. It's like, if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. Like, and I kind of believe that too. It's like, you need to like think so big, like you are truly capable of so freaking much. And it's like, yes, I'm still in the process of achieving what I think is something really big, but it's like what has allowed me to take the steps towards doing so is that belief in myself, and is that quote unquote, unrealistic mindset that got me here. Because other thing, it's like if someone wants to it literally does not make sense in my brain as to why someone would just take a small based mindset. Like it literally doesn't make sense to me. Like you're telling me if you had a dream and you said, yeah, but it just wouldn't make sense because I have to pay for this and do this. And then, with that and this, and then with the economy and, there's more expenses than you think and blah, blah, blah. It's like, what did that just do? Like sick. That just made you take away any ounce of confidence, any ounce of enthusiasm, any ounce of encouragement. You already just shot yourself in the foot. Like you basically already just declared that you can't do it. And I'm not saying to sit here and spend money irresponsibly or do irresponsible things and say fuck it just to go live your life. Like I'm not trying to enforce that either. I'm just saying if there's a will, there's a way, essentially. And it's I'm so someone that if you guys know I'm all fucking mindset. And I do believe if I've been dropping the F word a lot lately, I'm going to be honest. And I really don't even know if you can actually swear on Spotify. Can I type this? Okay, I think you can swear on Spotify. Anyway, I just feel like it is so not self-serving. Oh, that's what I was saying. That whatever you believe is what's going to reveal itself. And that was the other thing I wanted to say. okay, cool, that like a majority of Americans live XYZ. Okay, I have no interest in living XYZ. I don't want to live the way that they live. And it's like, I don't care how many people are living in this lifestyle. I know that there's at least one person living the lifestyle that I want to live. And if they did it, then I can do it. And that's all I need to know. And it's like, I think that speaks a million words. It's like we get so caught up of like what the majority is doing, and we think that's what means that's what's possible for us, and that's the only, that's as high as we can reach for is what the average is and what the rest of the world is living like. And I just think that's bullshit. I just call bullshit on it. There are people right now that are living my dream life. I see them, right? I know them. I follow them on Instagram, whatever the case may be. I listen to their podcasts or whatever. I know it is out there. That's all that I need to know. Point blank, period. If they did it, I can too. And that's all that I need to know. And so it's like, what good does it serve you when you're constantly I just feel like it's like, if you're constantly living in a lack mindset or in anxiousness and worry and all this stuff, I just visualize that. I'm a very visual person. I visualize that as you constantly like worrying about you looking behind you of like, oh shit, I really don't want to go in there. It's like, dude, freaking turn around and look forward of where you do want to go. And you see, like, I'm visualizing like just this promised land. It's like, would I really be wasting my time turning around towards this like black abyss behind me, making sure I don't get swallowed up whole and like strategizing of like, I don't know. Or would I just turn around and like freaking run full force into this promised land that I see and focus on moving forward and focus on having the abundance mindset? Like, to me, that just makes so much more sense than like constantly living with my back towards the promised land and facing this black abyss and constantly worrying about if I'm going to be struggling and like fall into the abyss. It's just like, it literally doesn't make sense to me is my moral of the story. It's like, I truly don't think I'm ever going to adopt that mindset. And again, I'm young and I know there's older people that listen to this, and some of you might be thinking like she's young and naive and like wait till life hits you. I'm not even going to say you're wrong because I haven't gone through life totally yet. But like I said, right now, this is what I know best. This has been my most self-serving mindset that's gotten me closer to my dreams than ever before. And I just feel like they've done nothing but encourage me to triple down on that mindset and on these beliefs and on these practices and on what I'm doing to continue going in the direction that I am, because it's the direction that I want to be going in life. And it's like, again, I'm kind of not even trying to argue of like one way is right or wrong. I'm more so with this podcast just trying to state my passionate viewpoint of what I believe and how I want to live my life, and hopefully encourage some of you guys who maybe have been being fed, self-deprecative mindsets. I want to be here with this podcast to encourage you guys to just freaking chase after what you want and to like just say screw it to being realistic and whatever the rest of society's doing and what's average. Like, I have no freaking intention. I have no desire to be anywhere close to average. Like, point blank, period. Moving forward, So anyways, that was I just needed to really go on a little rant with you guys. Again, I really hope this hit home for someone. I hope this was something that someone needed to hear, because I needed to hear it today. Like, I feel like this was also a pep talk to me and remind myself of like my own beliefs, because it's so easy when you hear people around you, especially like in your circle or whatever, counter you on that. It's easy. It's human nature to kind of want to morph to their own viewpoints, you know what I mean? And just like drink their Kool-Aid. But it's like, you need to stay to your truth. You need to listen to your heart, and you need to do what feels right to you, even though it might not always feel comfortable, right? That's the other thing. Like, there's such thing as growing pains. There's a lot of things that I've done in my life that have felt so uncomfortable, but it was where my soul was pulling me. And at the end of the day, it helped me grow so much and expand as a person. And it only helped me evolve in the best way. So again, I literally, usually when I have these episodes, I write up a Google Doc. I literally don't even have a Google Doc for that. I don't even have a doc open. So I don't really have an affirmation written, but one that I'm thinking of is, I have an abundance mindset and think big. Kind of just short and sweet. I have an abundance mindset and think big. I have an abundance mindset and think big. That's really all it freaking is. Anyways, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to listen to this or watch this. If you aren't watching on YouTube, reminder, I do have these also on YouTube. They're on their own YouTube channel called the Livfiit Listens Podcast. It's linked also in the show notes as well. Lots of links down there. If you enjoy this podcast, few things. One, I would love for you guys to leave me a little like answer the Q&A section, like the poll in Spotify. If you scroll down, you can let me know what your thoughts are and I can read it. And it's like the most fun thing ever because there's not really like comments on this platform or like DMs like I get in other platforms. So I always love reading that. So if you have some feedback about this episode, I would love to read it in the Q&A section. If you do want to support this podcast in a way that's completely free to you, you could either screenshot this podcast and put it on your story and tag me. I love to see who's listening. It literally makes my day when I see that you guys tag me in your story, or you can send it to a friend. Or if you haven't already, you could leave a rating or review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I feel like I'm stumbling over my words, but that goes such a long way with helping this podcast reach more people and ultimately impact more lives, which is obviously always our goal here. It really helps the podcast out a ton. That's like the number one way to support it. We're on the road to 500 reviews on Spotify, which is really exciting. That's my goal for the end of the year. So if you haven't already, it literally takes 2 seconds. You just tap whatever amount of stars you want to give it, click submit, and you're Gucci. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your week. Again, remember who the fuck you are. Don't forget to chase after your dreams, think big, and choose mindsets that are only self-serving and just tune out the noise. I'm sending you so much love, and hopefully I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.